Before freshman year began, I joined my class's new student group chat. When it came time to introduce ourselves, one girl in Eris type dropped a picture of her manicured hand resting on the steering wheel of a luxury car. She wrote, "Whoever becomes my boyfriend, this Lamborghini Huracan will be his." The flexing was nauseating, but then a tiny detail caught my eye and made me freeze. Hanging from the rearview mirror was a custom cat-shaped charm, identical to the one I had made based on my own ragdoll cat. That wasn't just any Huracan, it was my car. So, who the hell was she? Before orientation, I found our class's freshman group through Reddit. There were already 20 people in it, and I was thrilled. I typed, "Finally found my people." Cricket. Everyone seemed shy, except for one of the moderators, who immediately demanded that newcomers drop a selfie. I scrolled forever before settling on a plain picture of me in a white t-shirt and sent it. The chat immediately blew up. Pretty girl alert. Well, classmates can be kind. The group warmed up. More people started chatting until another girl joined. Her profile picture was a pouty red lip selfie, all sultry. She typed a casual hi, and before anyone could respond, she sent out 5 Venmo-style cash drops. The chat went silent, stunned by her money rain. "Thanks, sugar mama. That's more than my weekly allowance." People spammed Boeing memes and "thank you, bust Jeeves." The vibe in the chat skyrocketed, and the moderator jumped in again. "Alright, new girl, post a pic." I was curious, would it be a landscape, a group shot, a makeup selfie? Not even a minute later, she dropped 6 photos in a row, clearly desperate for us to know more about her. One was of her sipping coffee in a Parisian cafe, and Hermes Birkin placed prominently on the table. Another was of her at the gym, with the Lululemon logo positioned perfectly on her yoga set. Someone gushed, "That bag is gorgeous. I wish I had one." The heiress replied, "Hermes isn't something you can just buy. You need connections and wait lists." I rolled my eyes. Complicated? Please. My mom's essay practically begs her to take Birkins off their hands. Every picture flaunted luxury brands, but the last one, that shook everyone. It was taken inside a car. On her wrist, a Cartier Love bracelet stacked with a Van Cleef for leaf clover. Her delicate hand rested on a carbon fiber steering wheel front and center, the unmistakable Lamborghini crest. Even the chat went speechless. Then she struck again. "I told my girlfriends, whoever becomes my boyfriend gets this Lamborghini." Too bad. I'm still available. The guys perked up immediately. "Damn, look at me, sugar mama. Will my six-pack get in the way of driving your Huracan?" Encouraged, the heiress upped the ante. "My dad wanted to get me a yacht too, but I told him, like, what would I even do with a yacht?" Parents and their old money mindset. Nobody asked. Nobody cared. A yacht in a campus town? Was she planning to sail in the fountain? At first, I was scrolling through her flexes with a disturbing face, but then I zoomed in on that Lamborghini picture. On the dashboard, mounted above the steering wheel, was a round compass with a ridiculously cute, cartoonish cat head on it. My cat, custom made, one of a kind in the world, which meant that Lamborghini was mine. So who exactly was this so-called heiress? My family runs an agricultural supply company. We produce fertilizer, not just for local farms, but also exporting to places like Brazil and Canada. Because of the industry, my dad even set up a finance division in the company. They trade futures, something about hedging, so when crop prices fall, the losses aren't devastating. So, while my dad may look ordinary, coming home from the plant, smelling like soil and ammonia, he's made a solid fortune. But he never flaunts it. Scarlett, he always reminded me, when you're out there, don't show off. If you want this family to stay steady and avoid collapse, you keep your wealth hidden. Got it? From then on, the Hayes family had one principle: no flexing, ever. For my safety, it wasn't just about being low-key in public. Even my schools, my summer camps, my daily activities, only a handful of people ever knew the details. Before long, move-in day came. My mom had packed a stash of high-end skincare she'd picked up duty-free in Europe, but my dad pulled it all out of the suitcase and dumped it on the bed. Orientation week is about toughening up, no pampering. And think about it, your class will have both kids with money and kids without. If you show up with all this, how do you think the others will feel? Make people uncomfortable, and you're just planting problems for later. In the end, he put his foot down. No logos. No designer packaging, only plain generic-looking items. I tried to pack them into my Remo aluminum suitcase, but he frowned. "Don't we have a less flashy suitcase?" My mom sighed. "That's the only one left." My dad clicked his tongue, then used cardboard boxes. So my belongings ended up in 2 brown moving boxes, loaded into my dad's beat-up Chevy pickup truck, the one he usually used at the plant. He wasn't about to take any of the cars from the garage. Every emblem screamed money. So far, I looked just like any ordinary kid hauling boxes to college. But right before leaving, my mom realized the new memory foam topper she'd bought me still wasn't bagged. They looked around, found nothing suitable, and then shared a glance from the trunk. My dad pulled out a sack. No choice, this one's clean at least. I froze. A feed sack. If it were one of those red and blue woven bags, fine, they can look kind of retro. But this one had giant block letters, fertilizer. My dad just grinned. What? It's our company's new packaging design. And that's how my mom's imported memory foam topper ended up stuffed inside a coarse agricultural feed sack, tied Mr. Lancaster with rope. Move-in day. The sun was brutal. Campus buzzed with excited faces, parents fussing, last-minute goodbyes. And beside me, my own dad, in a no-logo polo, unloading boxes from the Chevy. Dad'll carry the heavy ones. You take the light bag. So there I was, clutching a fertilizer sack, trudging across campus. By the time we reached the dorm, it was already packed. Wasn't this supposed to be a 4-person suite? Instead, 5 or 6 girls were gathered around one figure, like stars around the moon. I peeked and instantly recognized her, the so-called heiress from the group chat. Her name was Vivian Lancaster, and I had already done my homework on her. The girls had been laughing and chatting, but when I walked in, they all turned toward me, and immediately their eyes locked onto the big bold fertilizer sack in my hands. One girl wrinkled her nose. Does that smell? My dad didn't hear. He was busy untying the rope, pulling out the bedding. Scarlett, you'll need to start doing this stuff on your own. Watch your roommates and learn. At home, we had housekeepers for things like this. But in college, of course, I'd have to handle it myself. Still, in their ears, his words twisted into something else. Learn from us? She'd need the skills first. One girl snickered. My dad didn't catch it. He was bent over the bed, phone tucked to his ear, my mom calling. A 50-year-old man, butt in the air, muttering, "Yeah, I'll head back to the plant this afternoon. I've got the truck with me." The mocking laughter grew louder. I stayed quiet. No point explaining. Finally, Vivian spoke, unable to hold back. "Your dad's so sweet, helping you set up your bed himself. Not like mine, he's already off having dinner with the dean. He barely has time for me," she added, with a sugary tone. Different fathers, different kinds of love, I guess. It took me a second to process the backhanded slap in that. My dad caught it too. We exchanged a glance. His eyes said, "Who is this idiot? Don't you dare turn out like her." Mine said back, "Relax, I'm not that dumb." Neither of us answered. Vivian was left hanging, her smile stiffening, her eyes narrowing in frustration. When it was time for him to leave, my dad stood outside the dorm and reminded me, "Looks like you've got a few rich kids in your class. Just make sure you stick with the capable ones, not the useless trust fund types." I almost laughed. Vivian Lancaster, a real heiress, please. Couldn't he see it? She looked suspiciously like Mr. Lancaster, our butler. Mr. Lancaster was one of our butlers, brought in earlier this year. His role was minor, since the main butler, my family's longtime friend, handled everything from family finances to affairs with total clarity. Mr. Lancaster only helped with outside errands, so he didn't know much about me. Vivian Lancaster was his daughter. I didn't bother telling my dad right away. He had bigger things on his plate running the business. Why waste his time over a vain girl who, so far, hadn't caused any real harm? At the campus gate before leaving, my dad reminded me, "We've got a villa on the edge of town. Hardly ever use it. Here's the key. If weekends get overwhelming, go spend a few nights there." My eyes lit up. Could I just live there full time? After the dorm atmosphere earlier, the thought was tempting, but Dad frowned. "College is about community life. Don't act spoiled. You need to live with your roommates." And before I could argue, he'd already shifted into his stern, company director tone. "During orientation drills, listen to your instructor. Get along with your roommates." I swallowed my protest. It looked like 24 hours with Vivian Lancaster was unavoidable. When I got back, Vivian wasn't in the dorm. Apparently, she was busy meeting up with several of the guys she'd been flirting with online all summer. Some people came to college to study, others came to shop for husbands. Before curfew, she finally returned and nearly made me jump. That light daytime makeup? Gone. Instead, full smoky eyes, fire red lipstick, and arms full of gift bags. One of the girls, Chloe Brooks, practically leapt out of bed to help her unload. "Vivian, you're back. Wow, so many gifts." Vivian gave a triumphant smile. "Oh, just from this guy, and that one." I told them not to, but they insisted. Snacks, flowers, and well, Ethan Miller even gave me a Tiffany necklace. I was so embarrassed. Then she glanced at me, waiting for envy. I only stared back, expression flat. That irked her. Chloe, ever the sycophant, jumped in to smooth things over by aiming at me instead. Not everyone attracts admirers. I mean, who'd bother sending presents to someone dragging a fertilizer sack around? She made sure to linger on those last two words. Fertilizer sack. Seriously? Our company's products had won national awards, but to them it was just a punchline. Vivian basked in it, pretending to defend me. Don't be mean, Chloe. Everyone lives their life differently. Her voice was syrupy, but her smirk said otherwise. I'd been willing to overlook her vanity before, but this tag team performance? Too much. So I tilted my head and asked sweetly, "You said you refused the gifts, but they forced them on you? That's troubling. Are the guys in our class really ignoring consent like that?" I widened my eyes. Should I call campus security? Or the police? Vivian? Her face froze. She sputtered, unable to reply. Take the presents if you want, but don't act like some tragic heroine, overwhelmed by men's devotion. What is this? A soap opera where every male lead is obsessed with you? Chloe scrambled to cover. Scarlett, you're so dramatic. Wasting police resources over something like this? Honestly, worry about yourself. Maybe start by hiding that ugly feed bag. You're dragging down the whole dorm's image. Then the two of them ignored me, busy unwrapping Vivian's mountain of gifts. Chloe's effort wasn't for nothing. Vivian immediately handed her a pink water tumbler as thanks. The next morning was our first class meeting with Miss Adams, the student coordinator. She introduced herself, then announced student officer appointments. I'd assumed there would be elections. Natalie Reed, the group chat moderator, had even said she planned to run. She was articulate, organized, the kind of person you'd expect to win at least one position. But I was wrong. There was no election. Class president will be Vivian Lancaster, Miss Adams declared, pen tapping her clipboard. Vice president, Ethan Miller, and for academic rep, Chloe Brooks, who scored top marks in history. That was it. No debate. No process. The applause was half-hearted at best. From the back row, I rolled my eyes. So that's how this works. Not a vote, but a ranking by family wealth. Vivian, flaunting her gifts for all to see, obvious rich kid. Ethan, casually dropping Tiffany jewelry, another. And Chloe, whose parents worked in finance, is comfortably well off. Yes, Chloe had scored highest in history, but in total, her entrance exam score was near the bottom of the class. So now, being unbalanced was a qualification? Clearly, Miss Adams had chosen her favorites before the semester even began. Natalie looked furious, but stayed silent. So did most others. Me? I couldn't resist. Excuse me, weren't we supposed to vote? When did elections get cancelled without notice? The room went still. Miss Adams fixed me with a sharp glare. Do you have a problem with my decision? Yes, I said plainly. I'd like to run too. How do I do that? Her laugh was dry, mocking. The chosen three smirked, emboldened. Some people don't know their limits. One snickered. Come on, if there were ever a position for agriculture rep, Scarlett Hayes would be the top pick. Laughter erupted. Yeah, fertilizer queen. Natalie tugged at my sleeve, urging me not to push further. But I stayed put, waiting for an answer. Finally, Miss Adams snapped. Class officers must be able to serve their peers, which requires connections and resources. These three have the strongest capabilities. That's why I appointed them. I almost laughed. So money equals ability? By that logic, the Federal Reserve's printing press must be the most capable officer in the world. She kept lecturing about thinking of the bigger picture and not blaming society, her voice growing harsher. Then she slammed the desk for emphasis, and in that movement, her necklace swung into view. A Tiffany necklace, the very same one I'd seen among Vivian's haul last night. So that's how it worked. Bribery dressed up as gifts. Influence disguised as ability. Capital smooth every obstacle. Miss Adams dismissed us curtly, heels clicking out the door. Vivian brushed past me, lowering her voice to a hiss. Scarlett, only dogs stick their noses where they don't belong. Look at your background. Do you really think you deserve to play hero here? I froze. My background? Her confidence almost made me question it myself. Ever since being appointed class officers, Vivian Lancaster, Chloe Brooks, and Ethan Miller had become inseparable, like they were running a miniature bureaucracy. One afternoon, Miss Adams pinged the class group chat. Class presidents and vice presidents, come pick up your platoon's training manuals at the main hall entrance. Vivian quickly replied, on my way, Miss Adams. The chat flooded with sycophants. Thanks for your hard work, Vivian. Ethan. Miss Adams. Vivian put her phone down, then turned to me with a sudden sense of authority. Scarlett, I'm tired. Go fetch my manual. I raised an eyebrow. Are you kidding me? Her eyes widened like I'd just insulted her dignity. Are you going or not? I leaned on my hand, cool as ever. I'm not Vivian Lancaster. Her face twisted in fury. How dare you? You'll never amount to anything. Don't even know how to respect people above you. I laughed. Vivian, do yourself a favor. Stop handing out your dignity like a free sample. It's not that pretty. She nearly exploded, ready to lunge at me, until Ethan's voice message arrived. Vivian, stay in the dorm. I'll grab the manuals with my roommate and bring yours downstairs. Vivian played the message on speaker, and the other girls instantly gushed. He's so thoughtful. He must really like you, Vivian. Her cheeks turned pink. That evening, Ethan delivered the manuals. Vivian disappeared downstairs and didn't return for hours. By the time she came back, close to 11, her lips were swollen and her whole face glowed with satisfaction. Didn't take a genius to figure that one out. Barely a week into college, and already, well, let's just say their relationship had advanced quickly. The very next night, things escalated. I was in bed streaming Game of Thrones on my phone when shrieks rang out in the hall. Is it true? Oh my god. I bolted upright, half thinking the building was on fire. Rushed downstairs, heart racing, only to find a huge crowd gathered in the courtyard. At the center, Ethan Miller, standing inside a glowing ring of heart-shaped candles, strumming his guitar, a public love confession. And of course, the leading lady arrived fashionably late. Vivian covered her mouth in mock surprise, walking through the crowd as if she were on a red carpet, eyes shining as Ethan serenaded her. Then he pulled out a small jewelry box, dropped to one knee. Vivian, will you be my girlfriend? I'll cherish you forever. The girls around us gasped in delight. I could only suppress a laugh. A wannabe socialite and a lovesick fool, swearing forever after 1 week. Best of luck, you'll need it. After that, Ethan paraded his devotion daily, breakfast deliveries, iced lattes, constant texts. Chloe cheered on their epic romance like it was a Netflix special. But when she casually asked, Vivian, when are you bringing your Lamborghini Huracan out? We should totally take it camping. Vivian froze. She pasted on a smile. My dad insists I keep a low profile. You know how kidnappers target rich kids. Remember how the Getty heir was abducted? I almost choked. Self-comparison to billionaire heirs? Really? Ethan, ever the gallant knight, jumped in. Her safety comes first. We'll save the Huracan for city drives. Safer that way. Vivian nodded, relieved. He smiled, satisfied. I smiled too. This story was only getting better. With Ethan's attention consuming her, Vivian stopped picking fights with me. For a while, I thought we'd finally reached a tolerable truce. But she had sown her own trap. Ethan, impatient that he hadn't yet seen the famous Lamborghini, kept hinting. Vivian deflected, growing tired. Then, when she caught me slipping up, she tried to use me as a diversion. One sweltering afternoon, after hours of drills, I checked my phone. Dozens of missed calls. It was Uncle Rick, sent by my dad with sunscreen, my mom's order apparently. He'd pulled up at the south gate, waiting in his Maybach for half an hour. I sprinted over, and there he was, Hawaiian shirt, slight beer belly, leaning against a gleaming stretch of car, half-empty water bottle perched proudly on the roof. I groaned. Really? Uncle Rick? Ever heard of keeping a low profile? Snatched the bottle off the hood. Why on earth would you leave this here? He shrugged. Saving it for you in case you're thirsty. Want a fresh one from inside? Rolling my eyes, I hurried into the car before more students stared. He handed me a Chanel bag with a sunscreen. Your mom insisted. And wow, you're getting as tanned as your dad. We chatted briefly before I hopped out. But as I walked away, Uncle Rick suddenly called after me. Scarlett. I turned, expecting something serious. Instead, he jogged over, handed me cold water, and patted my shoulder. Forgot you wanted a drink. I couldn't decide if he was clueless or just sweet. Either way, I smiled faintly, waved him off, and tossed the flashy packaging into the trash. On my way back, and just as Dad had taught me, what I didn't know, someone had filmed the entire scene. The very next day, the college forum exploded with a post that instantly went viral. Scandal. Freshman girl caught being a sugar baby. Hard evidence. Of course, I clicked right away. Who wouldn't want to see which classmate had gone down in flames like this? And then shit. The girl in the photos was me. The very first picture showed me in my ROTC training camo, holding a Chanel shopping bag and a bottle of Evian. Next to me stood a much older man, casually patting my shoulder, while I looked up at him with wide, uncertain eyes. To any outsider, it screamed a rich older man with his college girl toy. If I hadn't been the one in the photo, I'd have said the same thing myself. And that wasn't all. The post was loaded with zoomed-in, grainy screenshots from video clips. A luxury car pulled up, the sugar daddy waiting with a bottle of water on the hood, me reluctantly taking it, glaring at him, him handing me a Chanel bag. A shot where he leaned down into the car, way too close. Even me ripping open the bag, tossing the packaging straight into the trash. The whole thing looked damning as hell. The comments poured in. Is this girl from our school? Damn, a freshman already? Come on. You think this is just a normal relationship? Lol. As if everyone knows what this is. She's basically the poster child for don't hate the player, hate the game. And then someone dropped my name. It's Scarlett Hayes, English major. I wanted to scream that it was just my Uncle Rick in the photos, but I knew what would happen next. Demands for proof. What proof? My dad's and uncle's driver's licenses? Screenshots of our family tree? Like hell I was going to jump through hoops to prove my innocence. The online harassment escalated. Someone snapped pictures of my dorm desk, my second-hand lamp, a few cheap notebooks, and the fertilizer company tote bag my dad had given me and posted them as evidence. Suddenly I was branded the pig trying to eat caviar. Comments piled on, each calling me piggy. Students I didn't even know would stop to stare, whispering, giggling. During training drills, I stood at attention while people pointed at me all day long. Back in the dorm, Vivian Lancaster and Chloe Brooks would gather with others, laughing loudly right in front of me. She doesn't even try to hide it, shameless. How does that old guy even stomach her? I'm curious. Careful. If he dumps the pig and comes after you, you might catch something, hahaha. They repeated the same cheap insults again and again, like a broken record. Honestly, with their persistence, they could have been stellar customer service reps at my dad's factory. And still Vivian hadn't gotten what she wanted. I wasn't breaking down. I still ate, drank, went about my business, as if the whispers didn't touch me, because I already had the evidence I needed. One of my dad's IT guys had traced the IP behind the post. Surprise. Surprise Vivian herself. She'd even used mobile data to avoid the campus network. Futile. But I wasn't planning to use the evidence just to clear my name. I was going to make her pay. Except, on the third day of harassment, Vivian struck first. She hired bots, flooding the forum with comments like disgusting, expel her. Then she screenshotted them and spread them through every class group chat. The scandal got so big the faculty intervened. Miss Adams, our student coordinator, summoned me for a meeting. Why had Vivian suddenly gone nuclear? Simple. Jealousy. Ethan Miller, the golden boy she'd been chasing for months, had messaged me the night the post went live. At first, I thought it was some class committee business, but no. Hey, you awake? What's up? Nothing serious. Just wanna chat. We exchanged a few lines, and then he dropped it. Do you get really needy at night? I like your lips. Bet they taste amazing. Whatever that guy's giving you, I'll double it. Come out tonight. I nearly gagged. Instead of blocking him, I decided to play it smart. I typed, it's late tonight, maybe another time. Not a yes, not a no. Later, Vivian got her hands on Ethan's phone and saw the messages. She snapped. In her mind, a pig like me was stealing her prince. Ethan, of course, claimed I had seduced him. From then on, Vivian's malice burned white hot. She wanted me destroyed, and thanks to her, the whole scandal snowballed. Miss Adams texted me, have your father come in tomorrow. Fine. Time to let my dad handle this. But when we arrived, it didn't go the way anyone expected. Vivian, Chloe, and even Miss Adams thought my father would explode in shame, maybe even hit me in front of them. Instead, he stayed calm, collected. He let Miss Adams rant about family honor and moral education, her voice rising, hand slamming the desk with each word. Then he pulled out a chair, dusted it off, and sat down like he owned the place. Go on, he said coolly. Don't stop on my account. Miss Adams faltered, choking mid-speech. I almost laughed. By the end, it was obvious. The school wanted me to voluntarily withdraw. Dad stood, towering over her. I've bookmarked the site, he said firmly. I'll investigate everything and decide what comes next. And with that, he walked out. No tantrum, no humiliation, just quiet authority. Vivian, Chloe, even Miss Adams followed us out of the office, still chirping about how serious the situation was. They expected to provoke him. Instead, he barely acknowledged them, like middle managers trailing behind the CEO at a company meeting. When we reached the parking lot, he clapped me on the shoulder. Our legal team will preserve the evidence, he said. I'll message you later. Then he drove off. That's when Vivian and Chloe burst into laughter, pointing at his car. God, he even scraped the emblem off, pretending it's a G-Wagon. Chloe cackled. Where'd he get that knockoff? Vivian sneered. I clenched my fists, ready to walk away. But then Vivian's voice cut sharp behind me. So your dad didn't even get mad, huh? Makes sense. He probably knew all along what his little girl does for money. Maybe he even set you up with clients. She leaned closer, venom dripping. Or, maybe he's your first client. The world seemed to freeze, and then I laughed. Slowly, coldly. If she wanted war, she was going to get it. That night, I texted Mr. Lancaster, Vivian's father, the longtime butler of our family. There's a maintenance package booked at the Lamborghini dealership. Take the Huracan in tomorrow. He replied within seconds. Of course, miss, I'll drive it over in the morning. Mr. Lancaster didn't even know my actual name. To him, I was always just Miss. The car was registered under my mother's name, so my setup went off without a hitch. A moment later, another message came through. Miss, will you be needing the car in the next few days? I smirked. How bold of the help to pry into their employer's schedule. It was a 2-day service. What business of his was it? But I typed back politely enough. Not until I go home next weekend. His response was immediate, almost eager. Understood. Rest easy, miss. Rest easy? Not a chance. His daughter was about to walk straight into my trap. 2 days later, our military training wrapped up. Vivian wasted no time. She went home for the weekend and came back with a bang. Even before she reached campus, the roar of an engine had half the dorms craning their necks. And then she pulled up right in front of the girls' residence hall in a gleaming Lamborghini Huracan, the kind of car that made heads turn and jaws drop. Girls froze mid-step, whispering and gasping. Holy crap, no way that's Vivian? Sure enough, she stepped out in a pristine white Chanel dress, sunglasses perched on her head. Instead of heading straight inside, she leaned casually against the car door, rummaging in her bag, pretending it was all effortless when it was clearly staged. Theatrics at their finest. Then the passenger door opened. Ethan Miller got out, circled around, and slipped an arm around her waist like it was the most natural thing in the world. As they strolled toward the entrance, Ethan spotted me and promptly acted like we'd never spoken. He leaned in closer to Vivian, whispering something that made her smirk. When they reached me, Vivian deliberately dangled the Lamborghini key fob, spinning it on her finger, her face dripping with smugness. Enjoying the show, piggy? Eyes wide yet? Wide open. I said nothing, but her arrogance was enough to make my fists itch. Ethan joined in, sneering. Come on. Don't act so high and mighty. Didn't you already hitch a ride in someone else's Maybach once? Don't pretend you're above it. Vivian laughed, a high, delighted sound. Fine. Laugh all you want. Tomorrow morning, you'll be crying. That night, just before curfew, I pulled on an oversized hoodie, tucked my hair under a baseball cap, and grabbed one of the campus rental bikes. I coasted through the shadows until I spotted her precious Lamborghini, still illegally parked outside the dorms. Then, with one swift motion, I steered the bike's handlebar down the entire length of its side, leaving a deep, ugly gash from front to back. I didn't even glance behind me, just rode away, slipped out of disguise in a quiet corner, and returned to my room. Inside, Vivian was still basking in her glory, phone buzzing with compliments from classmates. I stretched out on my bed, satisfied. Morning would bring the real entertainment, and it did. At dawn, shrieks echoed up from the parking lot. Even from the 3rd floor, I could hear Vivian's hysterics. WHO, who the hell did this? Students heading to class gathered around, murmuring, watching the drama unfold. Chloe Brooks tried to calm her down. Don't freak out, Viv. We'll just check the security cameras. Vivian's fury simmered, but she clung to the hope of catching the culprit. She skipped class altogether, dragging Chloe to the security office. By noon, when I strolled back from lunch, Vivian's face was thunderous. Clearly, they'd found nothing. I minded my own business, scrolling on my phone, until suddenly Vivian lunged, grabbing me by the collar so hard she ripped the neckline of my t-shirt. Scarlett, you came in late last night. Was it you? Did you scratch my car? Smart girl, sharp instincts. But without proof, it was just slander. I smoothed my shirt and looked her dead in the eye, dropping the meek act once and for all. Got evidence? Or is accusing people by word of mouth enough for you? Her face turned blotchy red. She doubled down, sputtering. Don't get cocky. You're the guilty one. That's why you're so defensive. I let out a sharp laugh. Vivian, do you really think your word is gospel truth? That everyone has to bow just because you say so? I folded my arms, then suddenly shifted my gaze to Chloe. And you, Chloe, tell me, are you licking her boots because you actually like her? Or because she's rich and you want a cut? Chloe bristled. That's not. I cut her off instantly. Or are you going to claim you're really into her? Funny, because wasn't it you who said any girl who takes gifts from a guy without dating him is a cheap slut? Chloe's face drained of color. She stammered, desperate. Vivian, don't listen to her. I never said that. She's twisting my words. Vivian wasn't stupid. She knew her friendships were nothing but convenience. Still, with me as the common enemy, she wasn't about to turn on Chloe. She jabbed a finger at me. Then tell us where you were last night. Exactly. If you can't say, it means you're guilty. I smiled, unshaken. What's the matter, Viv? Can't afford to fix your car. So you're pinning it on me? I saw the scratch. It's barely a mark. My dad's mechanic could buff it out for a couple hundred. Or is even that too much for you? Chloe jumped in eagerly. Yeah. Just take it to a shop. Your parents won't even notice. Why stress? Vivian snapped at her. You idiot. Do you think luxury cars are like Scar's family junker? I nodded thoughtfully. True enough. So, what? 2, 3 grand tops. That's what you blow on one bottle of serum. She went quiet, because the truth was, she had no idea what it would actually cost. And I did. That wasn't paint I'd scraped, it was the protective wrap. To redo 2 doors and the front would run at least 20 grand. Her silence said it all. By afternoon, she looked hollowed out, eyes rimmed red. I knew she'd called her father. That night, I overheard her crying in the dorm bathroom, voice breaking as she begged over the phone. I didn't mean it. Fine, I'll die then. Is that what you want? The school's princess, sobbing like a child. But I wasn't finished. I texted Mr. Lancaster again. Pick the Lamborghini up this Saturday. I'll need it Sunday. It was only Wednesday, just enough time for them to wrap it in a rush job. Too little time to shop around for a cheap fix. If it didn't match perfectly, I'd notice. After a long pause, he replied, Yes, miss, I'll collect it then. Not a minute later, Vivian's phone buzzed. She bolted outside to answer, but I still caught her muffled sobs. I didn't mean it, please. What do you want me to do? And still, it wasn't over. I opened Ethan Miller's messages, the ones I'd left unblocked for just this moment. Ethan, I've always wanted to ride in a Huracan. Think you could take me out for a spin? He pounced immediately. Of course, I'll borrow it for you. Just a drive, that's all. He pushed harder, his tone sleazy. Just a drive? Come on. The Huracan's small, but we could still lie on the seats, look at the stars. You're disgusting. Haha, but you like it, don't you? Go to hell. I gagged, but played along for a few more lines before dropping it. Not long after, Vivian started slamming her phone, cursing under her breath. Brain dead idiot. Is he insane? Pathetic little leech. Perfect. Ethan had clearly tried his charms on her too, and she wasn't amused. Of course, he never did bring me the car. Instead, he messaged, Scarlett, let's just take the subway. It'll be more romantic. Romantic? In public transit? I didn't hold back. Did you forget the other men around me drive Maybachs? Don't embarrass yourself, broke boy. His response was instant rage. You filthy whore. Go spread your legs for your sugar daddies, bitch. I blocked him right there. And I knew exactly who he'd unleashed that anger on. Mr. Lancaster came to campus himself to pick up the Lamborghini from Vivian, driving it off for repairs. I made sure not to go downstairs, just leaned against the window ledge of my dorm balcony, watching as he stood under the residence hall, speaking quietly to his daughter, who kept her head low. A couple of girls from our class happened to walk by. They gave Mr. Lancaster a once over his plain shirt, his worn shoes, and started whispering. To them, he looked nothing like the father of a high society heiress. And once Vivian started acting so out of sorts after the Lamborghini got keyed, whispers began circulating. In class, maybe her heiress act was just that, an act. Of course, Ethan Miller heard the rumors too. That evening, I overheard Vivian on the phone in our dorm. Ethan, what are you even saying? Are you with me because of my money? Now, Ethan's family wasn't exactly broke, but from the watches and sneakers he'd bought her, you could tell they weren't rolling in wealth either. A guy like him dating someone as plain as Vivian? It didn't take a genius to guess he was after her supposed fortune. I'd seen plenty of small-time heirs latch onto rich girls hoping to prop up their own struggling family businesses. Vivian was rattled. To her, landing a catch like Ethan was a jackpot. Losing him wasn't an option. Meanwhile, my father messaged me. The company's legal team had served notice to the gossip site. To avoid liability, the site agreed to release user data if it went to trial. But the key account's the original poster, the one who doxed my name, the one who leaked photos of my dorm, bet those real IDs had already been quietly handed over. No surprise there. The culprits were my 2 lovely dorm mates. By Sunday, I was mostly curious how well the Lamborghini would be patched up. But Vivian had other schemes brewing. To keep Ethan and to salvage her crumbling debutante image, she promised to throw him a massive birthday bash for his 20th. Everyone from class would be invited. His birthday? Next Thursday. Ethan lit up like a kid at Christmas. And me? I nearly laughed out loud. A massive party? Renting a venue, catering, decorations, that's easily a few grand. Had she already covered the repair bill? My question was answered minutes later. Vivian posted in the class group chat, next Thursday is Ethan's birthday, and we'd love for everyone to come celebrate with us. Food, drinks, entertainment, it'll all be there. And Miss Adams will be joining too, she added. The group blew up. Damn, That's next level, Vivian. This is like something out of a romance movie. Drop the address. We're in. Vivian obliged. Couldn't find a venue I liked, so we'll just use my family's villa. Don't worry, there's plenty of space for all of us. I stared at my phone. My family's Lamborghini was now hers. And now, apparently, my family's villa too. Parasite much. I glanced at the cabinet where the villa keys sat. Fine. I'd wait for Thursday. Let's make it interesting. In the days before the party, Vivian's and Ethan's roles flipped. Ethan strutted around like a minor king, while Vivian trailed him, accommodating his every whim. Outsiders couldn't see the cracks, but I knew. Vivian was desperate to lock him down, and Mr. Lancaster likely encouraged it. He wanted his daughter to claw her way into money and status too. But that's the thing about human nature. The more you grovel, the less they value you, and the less you chase, the more they come running. Ethan's boredom with her was already showing. Though they hadn't had an open blow-up yet, he still hadn't figured out just how shaky her wealth really was. Didn't stop him from harassing me though. He still hadn't gotten over the tongue lashing I'd given him. One afternoon after class, he cornered me near the women's restroom, flashing a cocky grin. "I've got money. You'd never regret being with me." Vivian walked in on it. She rushed over, acting like a mother hen shielding her chick. I caught the crease in Ethan's brow, irritation plain as day. She saw it too. Switching gears, she tried to humiliate me. Instead, "If you like her that much, Ethan, I'll buy her for you." One night, his eyes lit up. "Seriously? You wouldn't be jealous?" The two of them carried on like I wasn't even standing there, as if my fate could be settled with a few words. Then Vivian turned to me, smug as ever. "You should be honored Ethan wants you. Spend the night with him. I'll pay you well, way more than your monthly allowance." I couldn't help but laugh. Her shamelessness could put ancient emperors to shame. I tilted my head, feigning thought. "So, 20 grand for the night?" She blinked. "What?" "Well, my monthly allowance is 10 grand. You said way more, so I figured double." Both Vivian and Ethan's faces soured instantly. Vivian jabbed a finger at me, like I'd just told the world's funniest joke. "Scarlet Hayes, are you insane? What? Is your body lined with diamonds? 20 grand for one night?" I smiled, calm as ever. "I thought for someone like you, 20 grand would be pocket change. Why so touchy? Isn't it worth it to make your boyfriend happy? Or do you not have the money after all?" Her voice faltered. "Who said I don't have 20 grand? You're just not worth it." I shrugged, amused. "Oh, I see." For a second I thought the heiress was broke. Ethan's eyes narrowed. My words had planted a seed of doubt, and it was growing fast. He stared at Vivian like he'd never really seen her before. Saturday morning, right on schedule, Mr. Lancaster texted me. "Miss Hayes, I've parked the Lamborghini back in the garage. You can take it whenever you want." I replied, cool and simple, "All right, I'll drive it next week." He couldn't help himself. "Oh, not tomorrow?" I stayed calm. "Nope." Silence. Then, a few minutes later, I messaged again. "Mr. Lancaster, I ordered 4 crates of snacks. They'll be delivered to the city villa on Wednesday. Could you arrange someone to receive them?" Instantly, he grew nervous. Is Miss Hayes planning to visit the villa herself? 50 years old, yet still sloppy when it came to hiding guilt. That wasn't the question he should have asked. A normal butler would have said, "Do you need me to prepare anything else, miss?" Instead, he was worried about my schedule. I played dumb. Weekend, just meeting up with a few friends. But he clearly hadn't recovered from the trauma of the Lamborghini incident. He double-checked again. "Understood. Just to confirm, it's really this weekend, right?" Pathetic. Afraid I might actually notice his dirty little secret. I stayed vague. Yes, the weekend. But of course, I had no plans to show up before Thursday. Thursday came, Ethan's big 20th birthday. No classes that afternoon. By lunchtime, Vivian had already turned our dorm into her personal fitting room. She twirled in front of the mirror, posing in a pale yellow strapless gown, dusted with rhinestones around the waist, the tulle hem brushing the floor. The dress wasn't hers. It was mine, a couture piece my mother had ordered for my debutante ball. I'd only worn it once, too extravagant for anything else, and it usually hung untouched in my closet at home. I didn't even want to know how Mr. Lancaster managed to steal it out. Vivian basked in the glow of her own delusion, spinning and tilting her chin like she was already walking a red carpet. Really? Was she planning to waltz through campus in that thing, letting everyone gawk, then hop into a car and head to the villa like some dollar store movie star? The scene had gaudy teen drama written all over it. Somewhere in my head, I heard a snide voice in a mocking Californian accent. "Girl, wear something normal. You look ridiculous." Finally, At 4 in the afternoon, Vivian descended the dorm stairs with Chloe at her arm, strutting like a peacock. I followed behind the rest of the class, who were buzzing with anticipation. It was my first time seeing that villa. Through the front doors, a horseshoe-shaped grand hall stretched upward with sweeping stone staircases curling along each wall. My eyes fell to the floor. A bold patterned Persian carpet, my mother's unmistakable taste. The dining table was stacked with food, though nothing luxurious. Even basic French baguettes had been tossed among the spread. Not that the food was bad, but in this setting, laughably out of place. The layout was equally clumsy. In a proper event, there should have been a natural flow, buffet area, mingling lounge, then out into the garden for entertainment. Here, it was just one cramped space, masquerading as grandeur. Chloe fluttered around like a maitre d'. Everyone, help yourselves. Just be careful with the furniture. We wouldn't want to trouble Vivian's household staff. She beamed like she owned the place, then quickly latched onto the classmates with wealthy parents. I slipped into the pantry and dragged out my deliveries, rare fruits, imported chips, luxury chocolates. I piled them onto the buffet table. The room lit up with gasps. Holy crap. Snow strawberries? I've only ever seen those online. Shine muscat grapes? And golden cherries. These chips are $100 a bag. Wait, is that Godiva truffle chocolate? Miss Adams, nibbling on a cherry, gave me a side eye. You should be grateful, Scarlett. Vivian was kind enough to invite you, after everything. I smiled sweetly. Miss Adams, that necklace you're wearing, Vivian gave it to you, didn't she? She froze. I widened my eyes innocently. Your salary's that low? $1,000 necklace, and suddenly you're her lapdog. Her face reddened with rage, but with a crowd around, she could only choke it down. Chloe, meanwhile, stared at the buffet like she'd forgotten her own script. Half of it she didn't even recognize. 10 minutes later, the royal couple arrived. We all gathered at the base of the staircase as Vivian, arm in arm with Ethan, glowed under the spotlight. She in my gown, he in a rented tux. Gasps filled the hall. Her family really is loaded. I feel like I'm watching a movie. Ethan's so lucky. He landed a rich queen. Vivian basked in every word, her smile radiant. She even shot me a smug glance, as if daring me to deny her illusion. At the final steps, Chloe handed her a champagne flute. Vivian tapped the glass delicately with a spoon. Showtime. Thank you all for coming tonight, she cooed. This party is for Ethan, of course. We have a huge cake waiting. Let's cut it together. Phones shot up, ready to capture the fairy tale. I raised mine too, only to text Mr. Lancaster. Mr. Lancaster, I'll be at the city villa in 30 minutes. Bring my Lamborghini around. His reply came fast, panicked. So soon? The villa isn't cleaned yet. I don't care. I'm not staying over. Just checking in. More excuses flooded in, but I ignored them. My order stood. Meanwhile, inside, Ethan and Vivian clasped a knife together. One cut into the 3-tier cake. When Vivian's phone began to buzz, again and again, she hurriedly sliced a piece, then excused herself to answer. Through the window, I caught a glimpse. Her face crumpled with fear as she picked up. I didn't need to hear it. I already knew who it was. Mr. Lancaster, telling her to get the hell out. The real show was about to begin. When Vivian finally returned, she looked like a balloon that had been popped. Deflated, wilted, and carrying a sharp undercurrent of panic. By then, the cake had already been sliced and passed around. Guests were laughing, eating, congratulating Ethan. The party atmosphere was peaking, until Vivian rushed to Ethan's side and, without so much as a whisper to him, turned to the crowd and issued a decree. Sorry everyone, I just got a call. Fire marshals will be here for an inspection in 30 minutes. We all need to clear out, immediately. Confusion rippled through the room. Wait, why do we need to leave for a fire inspection? Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Vivian's face burned scarlet. Our building's fire inspection protocol is very strict. They just notified me. I'm sorry. The room soured instantly. You've got to be kidding. We came all the way out here, with gifts, and now you're kicking us out. What a joke. I've never heard of something so ridiculous. Ethan's pride snapped like glass. His face darkened as he jabbed a finger at Vivian. Vivian, what the hell is wrong with you? This is my birthday. You said you'd host it at your house, and now you're throwing everyone out? Are you insane? Chaos simmered. People grumbled, but no one moved. Vivian was desperate now. Ethan, please. Just trust me, I'll make it up to you. But this time, we really need to end it here. Chloe tried to soothe her. Vivian, can't you just talk to the property manager? You pay enough HOA fees. Can't they handle the fire marshals? Vivian snapped, her voice cracking. No, you don't understand. It's not negotiable. She stormed over to the speaker and cut the music, leaving the room in an awkward silence. Party's over. Now, everyone out. I glanced at my phone. 15 minutes had already passed. Vivian was frantic, nearly in tears, but the crowd still didn't budge. So she started doing it herself. Still in her floor-length designer gown, she swept through the dining area, scraping half-eaten food and cake straight into the trash. Her actions were so bizarre that people froze, just staring. Vivian, what's going on? Chloe finally asked. Vivian whirled on her, eyes blazing. Are you blind? Help me clean up. Chloe flinched, then scurried to obey. Ethan stood back, eyes narrowing, the humiliation etched deep into his features. Murmurs rose among the guests. Why's she acting like this? It's like she doesn't even own the place. That struck a nerve. Vivian spun on the room, eyes bloodshot. Who dares say this isn't my house? No one answered. Until I did. Calm, even. I dare. Her gaze snapped to me, venomous. You filthy little pig. You think you can question me? I rose slowly from the center sofa, smoothing my dress. Why not? Let's all stay and see if this is really your house. Simple enough, isn't it? I leaned close, my voice dropping for her alone. Did you forget my last name? The realization hit her like ice water. Her face drained. She collapsed onto the carpet, trembling. The room hushed. Her phone buzzed and buzzed, unanswered. The half hour was up. My phone rang. Vivian jerked her head toward me, terror flashing in her eyes. I took the call, switched it to speaker. A man's voice, nervous, almost shaking. Miss Hayes, are you there? Have you arrived? I replied, calm as ever. I don't see you outside. I'm inside. Silence, then panic in his voice. You went in? Yes. Come join us. Every head turned toward me, except Vivian, who couldn't even lift hers. The front door creaked open. All eyes landed on the man stumbling inside, flustered, sweating. Whispers erupted. Isn't that Vivian's dad? Yeah. I saw him before. He doesn't look like the owner of this place. The man, Mr. Lancaster, the butler, her father, scanned the room frantically until he heard me. Over here. I called softly. He rushed over, saw his daughter crumpled on the floor and Ethan fuming beside her. His face crumpled. He bowed to me, voice breaking. Miss Hayes, I was wrong. It's my fault. My daughter only wanted to borrow Mr. Hayes's villa for a small gathering. There was no harm meant. I'll clean everything up, I swear. The guests gawked, the scene shattering every illusion. He dropped to his knees. Please, Miss Hayes, I beg you, it won't happen again. Dock my pay. Punish me however you want. Just forgive her. I didn't answer, but Ethan seized the chance. Scarlett, wait, you also own a Hirac Inn. I raised a brow. Also? The realization spread like wildfire. Whispers grew into gasps. The picture was clear. I was the real heiress. Vivian had been living a lie. Vivian's facade collapsed entirely. Her face twisted, eyes wild. She clawed at the room for something to throw, shrieking. It's you, Scarlett. You've been waiting for me to fall. UBH. She lunged at me, hand raised, but her father caught her, holding her back with desperate strength. I never flinched, not a hair out of place. I looked down at her coldly. You spread the rumors about me being a sugar baby. I traced the IP. Chloe, you leaked my full name. Ethan, you bought the bots that spammed the forums. I have all the proof. The lawyers will file defamation and privacy invasion suits this afternoon. Expect subpoenas. Vivian spat back, hysterical. Yes, I posted it. So what? It doesn't change the fact you were kept by an old man. I laughed, sharp and merciless. An old man? That's my uncle, my father's brother. Your dad knows him well. Ask him. Ethan's eyes darted, panic flashing. Scarlett, I didn't mean to hurt you. I only went along with her. I didn't know she bought bots. I tilted my head. Really? Not because you were hoping to secure a rich girlfriend and her Lamborghini. He flushed crimson, shrinking under the murmurs and mockery. Chloe was already crying, wringing her hands. I turned to Miss Adams, who stood pale, necklace glinting at her throat. And you, taking gifts from students, promising them positions. I have records of that too. Tomorrow morning, it'll be in the dean's inbox and online. The silence was suffocating. Finally, I turned back to Mr. Lancaster. The Lamborghini. How much did repainting cost? You didn't dip into my father's shop account, did you? His face froze. I smiled faintly. Thought so. You have 1 day to pay it back. Same for the 20 grand in luxury snacks and fruit. You'll replace every last item. His mouth opened, closed. No words came out. I didn't spare him another glance. I walked out. The fallout was nuclear. The scene was filmed, posted online, and spread like wildfire, dwarfing even the original smear campaign. Vivian left campus in disgrace, luggage in hand, students jeering. Ethan vanished for weeks, unable to show his face. Chloe avoided me like I was poison, Miss Adams lost her shine. Natalie Reed was unanimously elected class president. And me? I went home for winter break in my father's beat-up G-Wagon, dragging a duffel bag behind me. My mother had hot food waiting. She fussed over me as I ate. Scarlett, nobody bullied you at school, right? If anyone does, you tell me. Then she shot my dad. A glare. It's his fault. Making you live too simply. Kids and teachers nowadays are cruel about money. You hear about bullying on the news all the time. I smiled at her. Don't worry, Mom. Everything's fine.